as a leader, I'm successful only if I make other people successful.
There was nothing really that existed that brought the world together on an online platform about inclusion of people of determination. So it started with an idea of sketching out an app.
When a young player starts his career, that is the moment where talent needs to be developed and explored and nurtured.
You need to love the product you build, and the people using your product need to love your product.
This is Tech Waves. I'm Laureline from Dubai World Trade Center, bringing you your ultimate tech playlist powered by GITEX from our WeWork studio. Startups may be small companies, but they play a huge role in the worldwide economic growth. The global startup economy is worth nearly $3 trillion, a figure that is larger than the GDP of the UK, France, or Brazil. Startups create more jobs and are contributing to the economic dynamism by driving innovation. Even though we are talking about small companies and the startup ecosystem, my guest today represents the iconic global tech giant. He grew up in Milano, studied in Spain, did his MBA from Harvard, and he is a big fan of football, supporting AC Milan. So let's kick off the conversation with Roberto, director of Microsoft Startup for Middle East and North Africa. Hi, I'm so happy I'm with Roberto today at the studio. So, hi Roberto, welcome to WeWork office. How are you?
Hi Laureline, very good. Thank you for having me today. Looking forward to our conversation.
So just before we start to talk about business, I really would like to understand the man behind Roberto. So what kind of person are you?
So I've been working in a family where I've been seeing and living the ups and downs of what an entrepreneur, usually does, right? So I'm very much more kind of an action-oriented kind of person rather than reactive, or I don't like to stay behind the desk. Or
behind the desk, yeah. I can understand. So you grew up in Spain, in Italy, sorry, and then after you moved to Spain, I read that after you also spent time in France, in Paris, and then now in Dubai, so you are an international citizen.
I love that. I took this Erasmus program that in Europe you can do to study abroad. So I did my last year of university in Spain, in Valencia. And then I loved Spain. I put all destinations possible to get a place in Spain. I studied there and I started working there. I kind of followed my heart, and then when I changed a few jobs after, then I had the chance to travel a lot, to live in the UK, in France, in Paris, and then relocate to Dubai almost 7 years ago. Mm-hmm. So definitely for me, living abroad, first of all, it's not the usual Italian stereotype where
I know in Europe we are not too keen to do these kind of things. Huh? Italian and also French people we can say we don't have everything, but we have a lot of things in our country. So we can just grow up there and live there and.
No, that's true. And honestly, the usual Italian stereotype is Italian. Likes to live with their family, their mom, and they cannot separate from that. So it was a big experience that in itself. But also, the best takeaway for me is the diversity of experiences. Today,
you're in Dubai. You represent. You are the director of Microsoft Startup Middle East and Africa. So I guess it's very intense. So
it is.
Yeah. So you can manage the balance between work and personal, because I know you have two boys. So it's you can do it. Yeah, you can manage this balance.
I can manage the balance. Yeah, I love my boys. I mean, it's pure energy, right? Yeah. So when you go back home, or when they see you after a long day of work and they start running towards you because they want to hug you. It's just you get back energy again, and you want to spend quality time with them and not just...
So Microsoft Startup, tell me, what is exactly your role? Because when we say we are the director, so what does it mean?
Yeah, forget about the titles. To me, honestly, titles are important to a certain degree, because with title comes not certain sort of access to certain things, but it's not really important to me.
Okay.
So the important thing is I'm responsible to drive the engagement and the work that Microsoft wants to do with startups in the region.
Okay.
To me, it has to do with impact and legacy here, because here we live in a region where for a lot of people, entrepreneurship has to do with their lives and the lives of their children, and it's a matter of life. So imagine if you take, imagine the whole population of India and half of China. That's the number of people we have unbanked in the world. A lot of these people are in this region. Egypt has 80% of population that is unbanked. So helping founders, entrepreneurs that comes with idea to solve for real problems, take financial inclusion, financial literacy, accessibility, we'll probably talk later, and so on and so forth. The opportunity there is to make a real impact in the life of millions of people. And because entrepreneurship is all about, tackling into the real problems, building solutions for these problems, giving hope. And also, if you think about youth and the future of this region, there is an interest in diversifying economy from oil to knowledge-based. And that can happen also through founders, startups, entrepreneurs, and enabling them to be successful. Okay. So there is a impact that we want to have in the ecosystem to empower startups to achieve more, to empower founders to achieve more. We focus on B2B startups. We can talk more about that, but we engage. We see it as an ecosystem play, right? So we are successful if we empower others in the ecosystem, like startups, but also ecosystem players, whether it's investors or family offices or community hubs, accelerators, to be successful themselves, and founders ultimately to be successful.
To be successful.
Yeah.
Last question, Roberto. It's about the situation we are all facing today. So we are still in a difficult time. So what does it mean to be a leader in today's time? How do you succeed to give the energy, the resources to your team and to still move on?
My thinking is completely beyond the pandemic, COVID. What is true is that these times are probably more uncertain and complex than it used to be in the past. So then, to me, first of all, leadership is about measuring success through others' success. So me as a leader, I'm successful only if I make other people successful. And a leader is someone who can inspire other people to follow you, even just out of curiosity. So that's the thing. Then how empowering teams, to me, it starts with providing clarity of purpose. So you as a leader, that's your job. Sometimes you work in big corporations and they tell you need to learn how to embrace politics, navigate ambiguity, and that's true. It's part of. But sometimes people hide behind that and justify that, but not bringing clarity of purpose and direction, right? So the job of the leader is to ask the hard questions, provide this clarity of purpose, and then enabling the sources for people to be successful on that, right? So, and to me, that comes with having psychological safety. So enabling an environment where people bring their own self to work, they feel that they can disagree, but that can happen because there is a positive tension. People that are fiercely independent on one side, but they are able to be invincible as a team. So, pass the credit and keep the blame. That should be the attitude, and keeping communication informal. Sometimes leaders take that as authority, and the communication is like you cannot but say yes, because you surround yourself with yes men, right? Or yes women.
Yes women. But yes attitude.
No, it should be the opposite. So the job of the leader should that of enabling an informal communication, like the one you have at the coffee machine, scrappy, informal, keeping things fluid, making things happen. And that's what I believe is, and this is how I'm trying to empower my teams. To follow and to execute and to make things happen. This is what ultimately we are about, especially in the startup ecosystem. It's all about working with founders that want to make things happen. We are kind of a startup within Microsoft today.
Well, thank you, Roberto, for this first conversation. I think your first guest is arrived, so I will just leave it and give my seat to this first guest.
Welcome to Roberto Mini Podcast, first and last episode. Before I will sell it on NFT after we tokenize it. Today, actually, we are recording is 20th of May and actually is Global Accessibility Awareness Day. So we couldn't but having as a special guest Afsa Kader. She's the co-founder of Inclusive. And we are really pleased to, kind of celebrate Global Awareness Accessibility Day during this mini podcast and getting your point of view on accessibility inclusion for people of determination. But let's start from the beginning. Tell us more about the story behind Inclusive, how it all started.
I'm really happy to be here today, and I think this is a continuing tradition. It's our second year that Roberto and I sit together for Global Accessibility Awareness Day, and it's such an important day today as well to recognize the efforts towards accessibility for people of determination. So Inclusive has a story which is very, very close to my heart. I started Inclusive in 2019. And it really began because growing up with a single parent, I've seen my mom really bring up my brother, who's also a person of determination. My brother Ahmed lives with spinal bifida. And I just thought there was nothing really that existed that brought the world together on an online platform about inclusion of people of determination. So it started with an idea of sketching out an app. And I started drawing this thing on the paper and showing it to Ahmed as well. And then, luckily, Abu Dhabi launched the first ever social innovation program of its kind, which was going to fund and support startups who were going to find holistic solutions for inclusion of people of determination. So at that point, back in 2019, Ahmed and myself went to pitch. Ahmed was then 16 and I was only 24 years old. We went together, and half of that pitch, which was a 5-minute session, was Ahmed playing the piano. Because we were showing the judges that talent is unlimited, talent is equal, and everybody should get the opportunity. And I always think of this, my parents, or growing up, the kind of lens that we had as siblings around Ahmed, we always looked at equality. I never actually thought that, because he's using a wheelchair for mobility differences, it's something that can actually become, a barrier. But I know that the world doesn't yet share that lens with me, and I just wanted to make sure people saw it from my vision. So we are here now. It has cannonballed. I know UAE supports the inclusion of people of determination so much, so we couldn't have had a better platform. We ended up winning that pitch, top 10 startups out of 523 applications from across the world. And really, it became a journey of me and Ahmed at that point, because it was something we were doing out of so much love. Today, we're an app. We have so many users coming in, logging in as people of determination, applying to jobs. And we give the opportunity also to employers to hire with impact and hire with inclusion, so hire people of determination on their teams.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love when you said that everybody has potential, right? That has to be nurtured, which is at the heart of what we call a growth mindset. Also, a lot of organizations do not understand that accessibility has to do also with business. It is as if every 5 people that come knocking at your door, you leave 1 out of 5 out, right? So there is a huge impact also on a business side of things. So it's not just for helping people, which is great. So how Inclusive is really helping then people of determination, and how do you think startups should be more inclusive and build for everyone?
Absolutely. I think, startups are the decision makers, the founders that are coming up, the budding founders. I'm sure you meet so many people who are so full of energy, and they're doing things that they're doing absolutely out of passion. I think founders have a real responsibility that the businesses that they're bringing up now and the things that they're creating, they should have accessibility and inclusion baked into them, not like an afterthought. So this is what we usually say at Inclusive as well. Accessibility is not an afterthought. If you're starting a business now, you have the opportunity to include 100% of the population. Why leave 15% out? That's also a market. They do have spending power. Yeah. So why are you leaving people of determination out of a product or service that you're building? Initially, when we're all going through our startup phases, we're a startup too, we all think about how to make this product good for our users, right? So the question that I'm asking is, as a startup, when you say users, do you consider 100% of the users? Is your product and your service catering friendly? Is it mobility friendly? Is it sensory friendly? Think about those different aspects. Start researching, and by all means, reach out to us. We're here to help. You know?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. This is fantastic, Afsa, because at the heart of it is what we like to say is that in the past you had to adapt to the world, and today is the world that needs to adapt to you. And you really need to build your products, your startup with inclusive design, inclusive and accessibility in mind. Thank you so much. And we will definitely celebrate Global Awareness Accessibility Day next year as well. So let's keep the tradition going.
Absolutely.
And thank you for attending this mini Roberto podcast, first and last episode.
What's up, everyone? We are in Dubai Knowledge Park. It's 48 degrees outside. I'm going to see Roberto because he is the expert, because I have this question I've been dying to find out about. What ingredients are needed for a success? Roberto, come stai, Roberto?
Bene, Zarko, amen.
Good to see you, good to see you.
Good to see you.
We're here at the ICCA, Dubai International Center for Culinary Arts, and I'm here with Roberto. So Roberto, what is the ingredients to make a good, successful tiramisu?
A good tiramisu?
Yeah, a good one, yeah.
You really want to know the
I heard
ingredients?
tiramisu is Italian, no?
Man, you will appreciate that.
Good, let's see.
So in fact, we start with a good coffee.
Okay,
Good coffee. We have cocoa
cocoa.
powder.
Yeah,
No
cocoa powder.
No coconut. Cocoa powder.
Cocoa powder, okay.
We have
Cacao,
some beautiful eggs,
eggs,
essence of vanilla,
okay,
Vanilla.
okay. Vanilla, yeah.
Nothing
okay.
more, yeah.
Yeah,
mascarpone,
okay,
sugar, very healthy.
nice.
These biscuits, Savoiardi,
Uh-huh.
very good. This is all, and the last ingredient is love.
Love.
Yes,
ah,
it's in
right.
there.
That,
Don't you
that's a
feel
good
it?
one. That's a good one. Yeah, I can feel it
We
in there.
are ready to go.
Very good, Roberto. That looks so solid.
Luckily enough, we are on the good track of
Very
the
good,
side
very
of
good.
it.
Roberto, you said that those are the ingredients to make a successful tiramisu cake. They
Yeah.
have to be like cocoa and coffee and whatever. But what I wanted to ask you a little bit deeper is, what are the successful ingredients to make a successful startup? You work with a lot of startups, so yeah.
I mean, it all starts with falling in love with the problem first, right? So when you fall in love with the problem, you understand, for example, what's my problem now? What's your problem? I know your problem, you're hungry, right? But you're not just hungry, you want something good.
Yeah, of
So
course.
this is why I'm doing a tiramisu for you.
Okay, good,
Yeah.
good.
So, but you need to start with the problem, a real problem, so that when you build something, you build something with a purpose, right? And you help other people that hopefully are going to use your product. Then you need to look into the people. People is probably the key factor to build a startup. So ultimately is the factor, right? So that you have to have a kick-ass team. And people that, even if they are talents, when they come together as a team, they're able to build on your vision, right, as a founder. Then last ingredient,
The last ingredient?
Love.
Love.
you need to love what you're
L-O-V-E.
doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So even if it doesn't get perfect, maybe because you love it, you eat it as well.
Of course.
Which vertical has a strong growth potential for you?
Let me start answering this question from a different kind of thinking. So first of all, for me, before thinking about which vertical, because as a founder or as an entrepreneur, you don't wake up in the morning and think I'm going to disrupt this vertical, right? So you're
Sure.
thinking, hey, the customers here, as a customer, I have this pain point.
Yeah.
So to me is more which experience is going to be disrupted.
Yeah.
Which customer experience, user experience. So where are the real needs, the real problems,
Exactly,
right?
the
So-
real needs.
Yeah. So for me, the thinking should be around more the use cases, the user experience, understanding where users have pain points in their circumstances where they're trying to achieve or to do something. So, and that doesn't answer your question. So back to your point, then yes, there are verticals where it's no doubt here in the region, they have already showed potential of growth, like fintech. We see many fintech solutions flourishing here with the regulators, the IFC and the DGM here in the UAE, or Bahrain as well in the ecosystem here doing amazing stuff. It would come easy to mention probably healthcare and biotech, not just because of the pandemic, but because it's where technology can really help to predict, for example, diseases or to make it easier, to diagnosis. Just beyond the apps that we are seeing here about connecting patients with doctors, which of course is part of the experience.
It's part of the experience.
But to me, the sector I'm more passionate about, and we talked before about youth, is education.
Okay.
Because the pandemic and showed that there is a real gap in education, whether it's the real skills that are in need in this new uncertain world, and what's happening, what students are exposed to today in an education system that was built in a different industrial age with different needs, but now the world is accelerating and there are different needs, right? So education, for me, if you ask me, a vertical that I'm curious about to see more, because what I'm seeing today are solutions that are not really, most of the solutions are not tapping the real issues with education.
Okay.
And they need to also consider more of all the stakeholders involved, which is not just the teachers and the students, but also the parents. But also and the others, right? So education is one I would pick in terms of being very passionate about it and curious about more development happening to really see innovation. In
okay,
that
so fintech and education for you are the
biotech as well,
and biotech also. Okay.
And the wish for me would be to see more of impact-driven startups and ventures, which could be across all verticals, which is about sustainability, is about accessibility we touched base before. This should be embedded, not just be a separate vertical, should be embedded across all verticals to see not just the profitability of the business, but also the societal impact when it comes to environment, when it comes to climate change, when it comes to water, when it comes to carbon, and so on and so forth.
Okay, amazing, Roberto. Just one last question, please. You need to answer very quickly. Okay, can we say that UAE, Dubai, the Middle East is the next El Dorado for the startup ecosystem after Silicon Valley, Europe? Can we say that? Yes, no?
Short answer, not yet. Longer answer is, there are many things happening here that are positive signals towards making the UAE a regional hub and a thriving hub for entrepreneurs to build from. I believe, as we said before, that if we want to be real and not just stopping at PRs, is we need to invest in a long-term 10, 15 years plan, starting from education, attracting Arab talents elsewhere in the world to come back and give back to this region that have experience to give back. Having ranked universities, investing in PhDs, building more collaboration between the corporate, private sector, and public sector and universities and education. And these PhDs will turn themselves into professors for the region to give back to the region, and it has to be a sustainable environment. The other thing is we need to celebrate success when success is real. Meaning we have a lot of Me Too startups today here, and the ambition should be higher. We should have startups that understand technology deeper and understand and tap into real problems and not just copying and paste business models just to localize for the region, but why not thinking global first from this region, exporting technology from this region? This can only start if we invest in a long-term plan, starting from education, from youth, and doing things
all
right.
All the value chain.
As other ecosystems did already, and they showed that this is the way to go. Like take about India's 2 hours flight from here. Indians that gained their experiences abroad, they started giving back, and 15 years ago, and they built an ecosystem now that is thriving.
Very strong ecosystem.
And then they give back to youth, and they build a positive circle, right? So we really need to enable that beyond declarations or PR or marketing. That's the real thing that needs to happen.
Thanks, Roberto. It went well through this art talk session. So after making your tiramisu now, we need to do a little bit of sports. So let's go to meet your second super guest and let's make some sport.
So you thought it was only one, but actually we have the second mini Roberto podcast, second and last episode, most likely. Here with us today, we have Clarence Seedorf. He's a legend. He's a legend, he's a great person that it's a pleasure we have as a guest for our podcast as we talk about startups, empowering founders, entrepreneurs here in the region, and youth. So welcome, Clarence, and thank you
so
for
much.
making the
Thank you so
time.
much, Roberto.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So how do you see these similarities between startups and professional sports? So are there common things that you see overlapping?
Yes, actually, yes. I mean, when a young player starts his career, is the starting point of hopefully something good. And actually, if we go even further, when they start at the age of 13 and to be part of the youth academies of the professional clubs, I mean, that is the moment where talent needs to be developed and explored and nurtured, no?
Yep.
And then the moment you become, out of that small percentage, a professional, then it's just still not said that you're going to make it all the way through. So in those first years, I think there's a lot of risk that, you make wrong choices. You would have difficulty to actually have space in the market because there's competition, because you're the least experienced. So either the talent is extremely high, which is a very, very, very small percentage, or you need to be very consistent and just continue to learn fast, adapt fast to the things that you're experiencing.
But when, for example, in football teams, we see sometimes that it comes a moment where the thing that club's done is change a coach because that re-energizes the team or there are dynamics. So what's your advice for founders to build successful teams? Because then it's the founder is the soul of the startup, but then they need kick-ass team, right, to perform?
Yeah, well, I'm not a big believer in changing coaches all the time. I think it's actually one of the problems of professional football. And it's hurting the talent because you don't give them any consistency in their work and philosophy they have to work with. And it's more a luck factor that, this coach is working now, and then because even the best coaches, they go to certain places, they don't perform.
Yeah.
And then they're kicked out again, but maybe you keep them a little bit longer and things are coming together.
Yeah.
And of course, sometimes it's necessary to change. But the most important thing in that sense for me is to, you build a team, you build an idea, you create your the most important elements around it to then build from that point on. In football, every time that we have been successful, because there was a proper team around it, there was a proper leadership around it, and the chemistry was there, the cohesion was there, and then you grow. If things don't work out, make sure you did everything so you don't have any regrets.
Yeah.
And then maybe the outcome was not exactly what you wanted. Then learn from that.
But you don't have anything to regret.
And then continue to build on yourself and to get better.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. We can go on for hours, but I guess my mini Roberto's second podcast is finished. So the last episode. I don't think there is going to be a third one. Thank you so much, guys, and thank you so much, Clarence, for being with us today.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you, Clarence.
Pleasure.
Back to the studio, we had a very nice moment with Clarence, this super football star from AC Milano. Thank you so much, Roberto. Thank you for taking part to Take Waves at WeWork office in our studio. So, all okay, it was good.
I loved it. Yeah, I loved it. I'm looking forward to GITEX this year. I loved it. I hope you enjoyed the tiramisu.
Thank you, Roberto.
Thank you.
Thanks. GITEX, AI Everything, GITEX Future Star, Future Blockchain Summit, FinTech Surge, and Marketing Mania, the biggest tech show of the year from the 17th to 21st of October at Dubai World Trade Center.
Year 2021 is a big celebration for UAE, celebrating 50 years of their existence, plus hosting two of the most powerful shows in the world, GITEX and Expo 2020 Dubai.